Welcome back to another episode of Red Time, everyone. In today's video, the user asked the question, anesthesiologist, what are the best things people have said under the gas? And here are all the crazy answers. I was semi-awake during the hand surgery. The only person I could see was the anesthesiologist. I remember telling him some jokes while I lay there. Then I remember hearing the doctor chuckle on the other side of the curtain, followed by, "Would you put her the f*** out?" Then blackness. I often have wondered if my hand would have worked better now if I weren't so damn hilarious. Not an anesthesiologist, but was a tech. Had a patient wake up violently. When he came to, he said, "Sorry, I thought it was a shark." Happened today. Patient has a broken ankle fixed and was coming out of anesthesia when he was being wheeled out. The anesthesiologist accidentally hit the door frame on the way out. Patient: "Did you just do surgery on my leg?" Anesthesiologist: "Yes, you had surgery and you are waking up from it." Patient: "Then why are you running into things?" Not an anesthesiologist, but my tight-laced, extremely Christian grandma apparently asked, "Who the f*** is that ugly son of a bitch?" while she was waking up from the surgery. The person she was referring to, her preacher who stopped by to check up on her. She never lived that one down. The story was even told at her funeral. She was kind of strict, but she was a great lady with a great sense of humor. I had surgery last year, and when waking up, they had a communal room where around 7 to 8 people will all be waking up at the same time before being sent to individual rooms for some reason. I remember waking up slowly and hearing someone else being asked if they wanted some water. For some reason, this really excited me. Like there was nothing more in the entire world I wanted than to be asked if I wanted water. I practically yelled, or as much as I could yell on that day, "Hey, ask me if I want some water." And I'm pretty sure it came out in a "let me speak to your manager" tone. But I was just so excited about the water. My anesthesiologist tried to calm me down with a joke when I was a little kid being put under. My mom later told me about how I apparently commented on the joke being not at all funny and how I hoped he was more talented as a doctor. I was coming out of general anesthesia after a surgery to repair a broken leg. I woke up in my room with about a dozen very caring, kind friends and relatives who had all come to see that I was okay. I looked around, saw everyone giving shits about me, and I said, "F this," loudly and very clearly, and went right back to sleep. My friends thought it was hilarious. My mom was mortified. Backstory: I have epilepsy and a vagal nerve stimulator to control the seizures. It works wonders. From 3 to 4 seizures a week to almost none a year. I went in for the replacement of my device. Going under, I looked at my mother and started laughing hysterically. She asked what was funny. I said she had horns. And as I was coming out of all the drugs, the nurse was kind of a to me. So I said, "Oh man, the next time I puke, I'm gonna puke on you." I did. He said, "Man, your aim is good. I'm not even mad at you." When I got put under for a colonoscopy, I didn't really fall asleep during the countdown. I just looked at the nurse, a bit confused, and said, I don't notice anything." And she smiled and squeezed my wrist and said, "Just give it a moment." As soon as she said that, I started fading out, and according to her, the last thing I mumbled was, "Oh, that's f***ed, you magic witch." Two of my fave, both patients coming out of anesthesia. "Am I in hell?" I responded, "No, you're not. You're just in recovery." That sounds like something the devil would say. Count backwards from 100 to prove it. Or the one who stroked my unshaved arm while I was trying to keep him from pulling out his IV and muttered, "You make such a great carpet." In high school, I had a reconstructive surgery on my knee as I tore my ACL and meniscus in a sports injury. After the surgery, I woke up in a post-op, which was a fairly large room with probably 6 to 7 other patients in beds waiting to become conscious again. I was lying there all groggy and confused when 2 nurses walked over, pushing one of those carts with a computer on it. They stood over me and were typing into the computer when one nurse said to the other in a sort of frantic whisper, "We've put the plug in the snake. and or this one is going to die. Naturally, semi-consciously thought that thing was me, and I started to incoherently yell for the nurses to unplug whatever they needed to in order to find an outlet to keep me alive. Turns out it was the battery on the laptop that was going to die. Apparently, the death rate for an ACL repair is pretty low. Me after getting my wisdom teeth taken out. Nurse warned my mom that I'd probably say some crazy shit until I came down fully, which I thought was total bull, as I was super lucid. Felt like I could walk around fine, and was slightly annoyed, but understood when they loaded me in the wheelchair. They clearly told me that I couldn't eat solid food, how to treat massive holes in my gums, etc. However, I was craving a Pop-Tart. Like needed one ASAP. Mouth drooling. Probably actually bleeding, but whatever. And having in-depth fantasies of going to town on the largest pack I could find. Quite conventionally, in the car on the way home, I discovered nothing else but a cookies and cream Pop-Tart pack. I'm seriously making sweet mouth love to this pastry. Never happier until I remember I'm not supposed to eat solid foods. I shamefully tell my mom the news and that she has to take my brief but delicious love away from me. I specifically remember saying, it's for the greater good. So I'm trying to hand her my Pop-Tart from the backseat while she's driving on the highway, no less, when I realize the Pop-Tart isn't there. The Pop-Tart never existed. Besides, in my mind, she says, okay, Tolkien, I got it, honey. And I reply, the Pop-Tart was fake, wasn't it? I giggled for a bit, then went back to doing what the hell I wanted in my head. Fun times, 10 out of 10 would do again. My wife is an anesthesiologist, and her best line from a patient is, this is better than meth. Not an anesthesiologist, but I knew a guy who had surgery and afterwards wanted to go home. He wasn't recovered enough to, and the nurse wasn't going to let him get up yet. He turned to the nurse and said, you may not realize this, but I'm a ninja, and we heal 3 times faster than normal people. At that, the nurse stopped trying to keep him in bed, and he stood and immediately ate the floor. Not an anesthesiologist. The anesthesiologist that came in to check me over had bright blue teeth and lips. Keep in mind, I was high as fuck. I asked him how Smurfette was last night. I passed out hearing the nurses laughing. I was about to be put under for a colonoscopy while the nurse was trying to position me in a way to make it easiest for them to work. I had my knees to my chest and was passing out from the gas when I asked the nurse to paint me like one of her French girls, then passed out. Still makes me cringe. I was a patient. I went in to get an MRI at 7. They injected me with something and I said, wow, that made me really sleepy. Then the doctor said, "F***er shouldn't be able to talk." I still haven't told anyone I remember that. I'm pretty sure my mother was in the room, but I don't know. My wife couldn't take me for the first colonoscopy due to work, so my mother did. And apparently, coming out of anesthesia, when they were moving my IV, I told the nurse, oh, that's neat. I've taken a lot of those out, but I've never had it done to me. And my patients are always dead. Apparently, she looked very concerned by this information, and my mother had to explain that I've been a licensed funeral director for many years, and hospitals and other facilities often do not remove tubing. Apparently, I then followed up that by telling the young nurse she had a nice butt, and not as nice as my wife's. My mother felt free to share that with everyone, so yeah, I creeped out a nurse by talking about my occupation, and then even more by commenting on her butt in a backhanded compliment. I broke my hand tumbling once and had to get surgery. He goes to put the mask on my face and says, this is oxygen. I cough as the mask goes on. He pulls the mask away and I said, I trusted you, you lying f***. That's the last thing I remember. Not an anesthesiologist, but when I severely dislocated and broke my knee, I apparently gave one of the doctors that was just finishing resetting my leg a huge slap on the back and yelled, "It's fixed! You guys are the best doctors I've ever seen! Giving a 5-star review!" Wife said the nurses were cracking up. I'm a pretty big guy, and the doctor I gave the friendly pat on the back was a relatively small dude. Nurse anesthesiast here. When I was in school, I was getting ready to get a lady off to sleep and going through my regular spiel. I had the mask on her face and I said, "Nice big breaths," as I pushed the propofol right before she went out, and she said, "Thanks, I just had them done." I looked at my preceptor, we looked at the circulator, and we all burst out laughing. I now say slow, deep breaths instead. I love telling that story. That lady made all of our days. When I woke up from surgery, the doctors asked if I wanted anything to eat. "You got those crackers that come in packs of 6 with the cheese?" "No, we don't have those." "Oh, fuck, man, that's shit. We have the peanut butter ones, though." Hey, yeah! Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you did, please like the video, subscribe for more content coming soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.